you'd get immediately blacklisted. You'd get immediately kind of like.
Well, you're blacklisted already.
Because I already am.
You're cool, so you're cool. That's how
they're like, well, this guy's gone anyway.
This guy's gone anyway.
Why doesn't he just call himself a Shia and then we wouldn't have a problem?
Just take him out.
He's attacking Bukhari.
I'm wearing white. I can't be.
He can't be.
علي ولي الله غضب العلوي تفجر الله أكبر حيدر 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 الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله علي ولي الله غضب العلوي
So moving on to the next question. Sure. It was about, so again, thank you for introducing and telling us about yourself.
Yeah.
It was a long one, but it was important.
Sorry.
It was important so that at least now everyone knows who we're speaking to and who the guy is behind Monday nights, right? Sounds like Monday nights, wrestling, WWE, right? Different subject. What I was going to ask you was about in the Muslim community, coming from a Shia background myself, you coming from a Sunni background. Amongst Sunni background, you might not know of it as much, but because you know about the intra-debates and as well as out-sectarian ones, the issue of takfir amongst Muslims, excommunication as it was called in English, this issue that's widespread, and you could say back in the day it was like maybe confined to more ulama, where the ulama would kind of deal with this above our heads, and it was there in the books, but it was one of those ones where scholars had that respect and they would be like, look, it's a scholarly thing. The awam and nas don't get involved in this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying takfir doesn't exist. I'm not that guy either.
No,
but I'm saying there are at times takfir is takfir. But the concept of just the common guys throwing it at each other and it's become so bad where Muslims can't even say salam, or even what we're doing today, I would say to an extent is groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Being able to sit down, as in UK, has this been done? I don't see. Someone says I don't know of any examples. I don't see it. So what I'm trying to say is it's reached that level. So what would be your nasiya or your background behind it, of how we've reached this stage and how we can actually fix this?
You see, I think the takfir phenomenon, declaring people kafir, is excommunicating them.
And just link that to the unity aspect.
Yeah, because I think this is quite shocking, because we've become trigger happy with takfir. Kafir.
Trust me,
and it's not just towards Shia.
It's true, even in Shia.
Within, people call me a kafir. I've been called a kafir because I problematized this thing, will Jesus come back? Oh, will Jesus come back? You're kafir. Wow. Why do you feel that this iman, this faith, is something which you have the right to chuck people out of? Like I said, it ain't your dad's deen. If anybody wants to be a part of this deen, it's their understanding. Traditionally, the understanding was this, that there may be certain claims that people may say, okay, we believe this claim, like the ulama would say, maybe kufr. If somebody starts saying, okay, there's two gods, we believe this is kufr. They weren't obsessed about saying, you are the kafir. Yes, I'm not saying there were never phenomenons, but because I'm not denying history, but what I'm saying, there wasn't an obsession.
Yes.
You see, the imams were they used to kind of
cautious,
run away from
very
this
cautious.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what
they used to be like, what the hell? And maybe if people kind of pressurized them, they might have one, two incidents.
Or if the clear issue was clear, the guys
they may have, but not like the way it became. And now it's become if you don't do takfir, doing takfir is the norm.
The next usul is the person who doesn't do takfir, he's a kafir as well.
Yeah,
that's not black though. That's the dangerous one, where it's you don't say it, so you're kafir as well. That's another bully one. Yeah.
This is what I really like that thing that Maulana Tariq Jamil Sahib said. He said I don't understand. He said, because he has this whole thing on unity as well, and he's
getting a lot of pressure for this.
He's getting a lot of slack.
Especially with the Shia.
Because he said that there ought to be unity. Now, he made this statement that he said, kafir kya kam par gaye? Are we lacking kuffar?
Are we lacking kuffar?
I don't understand. What's the obsession on chucking people out of Islam? What are we? Do we feel there's a shortage of kuffar in the world? I've got to chuck you out. And what's the why are we then obsessed with, on one hand, da'wah? Let's convert people. On the same hand, they chuck people out.
Because this is it. Convert people to exactly what I'm upon. If you differ slightly,
and they will probably just do takfir of them in a few months' time.
100%.
You know, or call them a deviant, and then maybe in a year's
It
time.
starts from there.
It
It starts from there, and then yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting. You see, where did this emerge? I think maybe some people can do detailed studies of this. I know it's been quite common. It's definitely common today. People do this blackmailing thing of like, oh, if you don't call him a kafir, you're a kafir.
And the person's like, well, then he is.
Like, whoa, mate, you know, like, what,
Alright,
the hell
cool,
is
he's a
all,
kafir.
what the hell is all of this? And in Pakistan, they do these kind of like, they used to say like, oh, like if you don't call him a kafir, then your nikah's broken, and you're.
They
like,
used to do that about. They used to be like, if you go to, they say, if you go to a Shia majlis,
okay.
then I remember that a lot of women used to, like, there's a joke that I've said about it, is that the woman would go to the Imam Sahib and say, Mullah Sahib, maine kya kiya, mera nikah kyun toot raha hai? Matlab, he goes to the majlis, why is my nikah broken?
Yeah,
So they would do that a lot as well.
Because this is so this kind of, you see, this is a way to emotionally guilt trip and blackmail, strong arm the public, because the public might not understand Iman, but when you say nikah, they think, oh damn.
Now this is getting
So
serious.
this is like, I'm strong arming you into
serious
dissociating yourself.
Yes.
So this kind of, this phenomenon, and I do believe that with, I suppose, the Wahhabi movement, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, this, in his time anyway, this was highly accentuated.
Harsh, yeah.
Because he even, I mean, not even Shia necessarily, but mainstream Muslims.
Mainstream Muslim,
he was
yeah,
just
yeah,
calling
yeah.
all of them kuffar for a good
Because
while.
the wars that they done afterwards,
'Cause
there was witness to what it was based on.
Although I think the Salafiyya afterwards are not on his level per se, because he was just like on a pure like gung ho, like this is just before, you know, like kafir, like he was just like jumps in the room the priest goes, huh? Why am I being called? Of course I'm a kafir.
And there's one guy that's dodging it. There's one guy that's dodging it.
And he was really weird because he declared all the Bedouins of his time kuffar.
What did we do?
Yeah, he was Bedouin, but he declared the other Bedouins because he said ala arabu ashaddu kufran wa nifaq. You know, like this.
That verse.
The verse, and he used to say that. So he's got this whole the ulama of Najd, the mashayikh of Najd, have been debating this since, that are the Bedouins kuffar or not. So this, but the Salafiyya today are not on his level.
That's true.
Maybe some of them are, but most of them are not.
Yeah.
But they still have that strong
foundation.
Yeah, these kind of streaks
in them.
of
Comes out
full of, unfortunately, full of a bit of hate.
Yeah.
And that's such a shame. And other people have it as well. I mean,
Because it stops, it stops dialogue.
Yeah, because
and once you stop dialogue, it leads to segmentation of Muslim thought.
Of course, and
because you don't understand me, I don't understand you, and we just carry on.
Because more than this as well, you see, I think, this is my understanding. I think, like, let's say now we're speaking about, let's say, Shia Sunnis. I think most people, majority of the Muslims, don't even know what necessarily Sunni Islam is, and don't even really know what Shia Islam is.
Yeah.
Like, they've got some idea of keywords. Like, they're going to say, okay, they're more to do with... I think maybe the public might not even know about Muhammad. But I think the public would think, okay, they are inclined towards Ali.
Yeah, true.
And they, let's say, go on about the family of the Prophet.
True.
And then they have, like, let's say, some understandings that, they're against the companions, let's say.
Yeah,
and they will probably say, we are, like... I think most people don't even really know what necessarily Sunni Islam is, except it's just the mainstream.
It's just the mainstream.
And then amongst themselves, there's all disagreements anyway. Now, the common public, which I think is probably about 90% of Muslims, you see, what is the way forward for them? Because so the understanding is this, like, what are we to say? Like, what, people will ask, like I had once somebody call me and say, they wanted to get married. I think some woman, I can't remember whether she was Shia or Sunni, but she was one or the other. And she wanted to marry the person of the other.
Opposite, yeah.
So I can't remember which one she was and which one the guy was.
And they came to you?
But they asked me. So they asked me on the phone, right? So, look, listen. And her understanding was like, I just don't get, like I don't understand. Like, I totally just don't understand it. Like, why can't we, like, we're Muslim and we're just like, we believe in Allah, we believe in this.
It's a very common question.
She didn't really know anything. I can't remember which one she was, but she didn't know what necessarily Sunni was or Shia was.
Both Muslim, that's it.
And she was just really confused on this. And this is a prime example
how the common person is
thinking.
100%.
So the question is, well, how do you move forward in life? How do you move forward? Like, what is I get the fact, look, if we're going to dig up if people just want to dig up dirt, there's going to be dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
There's going to be like, obviously every sect,
Has something.
every group, every denomination is going to have like wackos saying things.
Yeah.
It's like, look at all this stuff I've recently brought out in some of the Sunni literature I've brought out, which people happily turn a blind eye to. Like saying the satanic verses could be legitimate. Ibn Taymiyyah endorsing it, you got Ibn Hajar endorsing it.
I think that they don't really want to deal with that. I think it's just like this.
But my point is, like, that's a wacko thing to say. Like even the Prophet, this whole thing that I've said in Bukhari, saying, oh, he forgot the Quran, he used to make mistakes in the Quran, make blunders, make this. Like, these are crazy wacko things.
Hashtag Bukhari Gate.
The Bukhari Gate thing. Now, my point is, but it's not just, it's this whole thing, like, everybody said crazy stuff. Like, if we just want to pick on people, and I'm sure, people will say, look, the Shia, they'll say that, once again, they'll say, if people have said it, that the Shia will say the Quran is incomplete, or they'll say the Shia will say Imams are higher than the Prophets, or they'll say that this kind of stuff. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if some Shia have said that, just as some Sunnis have said certain things. Now, my point is, how do people move forward?
All schools,
How do people, because like, do we just, I just hate you, you just hate me.
Do we just stop
It's like,
now, do we just
like I just, kafir, 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 kafir.
Indian, I just get a machine gun and go.
It's like,
Coffee.
It's like one of my teachers, Abdullah Mantaki Saab, a great teacher actually. But at the time, you see, this is another thing. At the time, you see, in Karachi, sometimes this Shia Sunni thing was way out of order, man.
It would get quite tense.
Like killings and bloody bombings.
Karachi was quite
ridiculous stuff, man. Honestly, like I don't understand how the value of life is so cheap. I don't understand how the value of life is so cheap.
Islam's relation to blood,
and in relation to religion, like, because at the end of the day, it's in the name of God. It's not even in the name of, like, you can understand people have a personal argument. Fight over land, fight over wealth, and they end up killing each other over God. Like, what the hell is that about? So now he once said, I can't remember what he was talking about, which group, but he said that they've written on the wall, like, he goes, like, some people had been killed, and they go like, somebody had written on the wall in like paint, like this massive, that "Kab tak maroge?"
Wow.
Like, up until when will you kill us? And he goes, Fil badhi, like, immediately, impromptu, I came up with the response, Jab tak ji chahe.
What kind of, it's so sectarian, like, how do you deal with that?
It's like, what the hell is this about? But my point is, like, you see, this mentality of saying, look, like the way that there's a poem which I've said before, actually, part of it, where the guy says, Istara saat nibana hai dushwar sa, like, it's difficult to get by like this. Tu bhi talwar sa, me bhi talwar sa. We're just swords clashing. How do we move forward?
Yeah.
So my point has been, look, the common Muslims don't know this stuff. They don't really understand it. Can't we just move, like, okay, there's things we don't disagree, the things we disagree on.
Clearly, 100%.
Just fine, just don't discuss them.
Yes. And
just move forward, like we would with, like, let's say I'm sitting with somebody totally different. We have no problems sitting with non-Muslims, let's say. Who, I know people might say, yeah, but that's because sects are non-Muslims as well. But the thing is, no, we have no problem sitting with an atheist. Doesn't even believe in God. Fine, like, could be my friend. Like, I've got a few friends who are atheists. Now, fine, we've got no problem doing that. But if he's a Muslim, it's like that clip, remember that clip, the Pakistani clip, the guy's on the tree about to commit suicide. And that's so hilarious. He's like, don't commit suicide. And you're Muslim, you send me, are you Hanafi,
and he goes all the way.
And he's like, kafir, what?
that one last thing.
So this is what we're like we have this thing of, and to the common Muslim, this makes no sense. Like, yes, everybody's going to have skeletons.
No, it's
but
true.
The point is, are we pushing that today? Like, as long as we're not, so I'm not, like, one is, if we're pushed, like, okay, one is having opinions, one is, okay, one thing I would say is, okay, there's no abuse. Abuse aside, and generally I think I've heard you as well support, and several Shia ulama, I've quoted several Shia ulama, Sistani and other people saying that, look, it's haram to kind of curse symbols and stuff like this, because, look, this isn't the way to do things, even if you disagree with people or whatever. Now look, okay, put that stuff aside, the rest, look, it's fine. Look, okay, when I say fine, I have my understanding, you have your understanding, but look, why can't we just get along? Like I don't.
The thing
Okay,
is-
we won't discuss that. We'll just move forward.
And do you know what Mufti Sahib, it's like, that's in relation to Shia Sunni.
Yeah.
From there, the scope is so small that even within your own...
Yeah, because I said like, look,
Because
Brelvis
at least-
and Deobandis,
yeah,
now
look-
this is a prime example.
They-
Brelvis and Deobandis are almost like just twins, yeah? Like just, they're kind of like just...
Qabil and Qabil.
Qabil and Qabil.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm not going to get it for that one.
I never said it.
I never did it.
I said it.
Shia said it.
So with the Shia causing the problem,
Right, but that's a... Now the thing is, look, they're identical, almost. I mean, they're twins. They're like those non-identical twins.
Yeah.
Because...
He said it the best Qabil Qabil. He said it already.
The thing is now, both Hanafi, both subcontinental, both got just 100 years ago, both got the same teachers. They're both Maturidin Aqidah, both, they both are generally Maturidin Aqidah.
Yeah,
they're both like, everything is the same.
Yeah.
They both Sufis,
Yeah.
follow the same kind of tariqah, tasawwuf of Chishtis or Naqshbandis, whoever they are. Now, the only thing they disagree on a few issues, and that too may be based on just two things. One, it may be based on misunderstanding, and it may just be based on a bit of stubbornness of people refusing to criticize. Like, I'm not going to say, yeah, he made a mistake.
Yeah.
Just say it. If a guy made a mistake, he made a mistake.
Or even like you say, if something...
And people say like, look, like, we mentioned like Imam Malik. I'm just saying, look at like legends like that. Even like you have Imam Malik students would say that, look, when Ashhab, one of his key students, somebody presented to him, said, yeah, but Malik said this. He said, Malik is Malik. But what in qalaha Malik? And even if Malik said, lasna lahu bima Malik, we're not his servants or slaves.
Wow, yeah.
At the end of the day, he's a legend, but he, and the famous statement that was said about Imam Malik as well, that he said that Malik kabir, lakin al-haq akbar minhu. The truth is, that as said about Plato as well. What was it? But anyway, but the whole thing is that Plato, but the truth is greatest. He's dear, but the truth is dearest still.
Dearest, yeah.
But the whole thing is
These
that
are wise statements.
yes, these are great people. We love them. Yes, if somebody made a mistake, fine. It doesn't. Okay, you can acknowledge a mistake. You can say, but okay, because of this stubbornness and maybe some misunderstandings as well, they can never look how close they are. Hate each other with a hatred.
So I think it's to do with, rather than even different sects, I think it's just to do with people's
It's a
minds being
mindset.
closed. And the mindset, I think,
It's a
especially in
mindset.
the UK, where basically it's getting imported from our countries.
Yeah.
Where we're originally from,
Massively
that's coming from
imported.
there. Because how are you going to have it in the UK, born and bred here? We're not taught that. So how is that in your mind here?
Because
Unless
this
you're
is what's
importing it.
being obvious. This
You're
is what we're
importing
hearing.
It just goes back to the point. Family members can even
Yeah.
have differences of opinion.
And they do.
And
They often do. They often do. Family members often have different
Just don't do a Habil and Qabil and kill each other.
You don't need to. And then when you disagree with somebody, fine. You just don't need to discuss that. Like, I just think, like,
if you're not mature enough to discuss it intellectually, then don't.
Yeah, or either have a discussion
Intellectually,
intellectually,
or don't.
Like if I think, look, you know what, I can't handle this situation. Let's just say, I think, look, I can't handle. It's like somebody contacted me a little while back. He actually got offended a bit. But he said to me, I want to debate this, like as in, not debate as in like scholarly level, but debate as in like, he wants to kind of discuss with me back and forth about proving to me that Aisha radiallahu anha was a child.
Oh, he wanted to prove
He
it.
wanted to kind of prove to me, he's a Sunni. Like, so I got upset. Like, I just said to him, look, don't discuss this with me. I don't want to talk about this because I've got my video on it.
You've got,
I've got my stuff on it. If you're just going to keep justifying to me what sounds like paedophilia, I don't want to hear it. So my point is, like he said, oh, well, why I said, look, if I don't want to discuss something, I don't want to discuss it because all
that's
you're
fair.
doing is just nonsense and I don't want to partake
that's
in this
fair.
nonsense of yours.
You've made it
So I'm
fair,
just going to be clear, look, I don't want to talk about this now. I've got a detailed video on it and I'll do more on it, but it's not that I'm backing away from the discussion, but
It's
right
just,
now you
yeah.
just keep going back with this stupid thing of saying the culture. I don't want to know. Right, so because that's nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Now the point is, okay, so either you don't discuss things or you discuss them, or you have
intellectual manner.
a calm discussion or whatever, but an academic, an objective discussion.
Or if you're too emotional, don't go speaker's corner.
Yeah, like
This is why Mufti Saab won't go speak as
this is
well.
why I don't go speakers.
We're trying to convince him. We're trying to convince him. So we can all jump on it together.
Muhammad was trying to tell me to go speakers corner. I was like, what the hell for?
Everyone was in that.
He must be in on it.
Everyone's in on it. Everyone's in it. We got it. We got
Sit
it.
out.
We got it. No, so you know what?
So, yeah,
As a philosopher, look, like
I'd like to say that, look, I think that there are, like I saw a video recently, I don't know personally what's Ammar Naqshwani, but I've seen his video clips. Now, I saw a clip recently shared by some people trying to highlight contradictions of his.
Yeah.
So I saw some clip which seemed recent. Once again, I don't know how, but it seemed by the quality of it, seemed and the way he looked, it seemed more recent. In there, he was saying that, look, we Sunni, Shia, whatever, we need to kind of have some points of unity, move forward. We have a lot more in common than we do have against each other.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of like, at times, yes, we've got our differences, but put them a bit like, tone it down.
Yeah.
So he was saying this, and then the person was showing like an older clip where he's kind of saying that these Sunnis have lost the plot and stuff like this. Now, I just felt like I watched that. It came up on my YouTube thing, and I watched it, and I felt, look. And there's another Shia scholar who, you know, he says some very interesting things actually, very well versed, very learned, Sheikh Kamal Haydari. So
I thought you would like him.
I actually do. I take a liking to. I know people are going to think, oh, I like a lot of. And the guy, he's very critical of the Shia thing as well.
Yeah.
And they were quoting him as well. So they had him saying, look, oh, we need kind of like unity. But then they had an older clip where he's saying like he's kind of like dissing the Sunnis. So I felt, look. I'm not saying that people wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Look, if you'd asked me, there was a time when I would probably, if I'm going to be introspective and look into my own self, and I'm going to think that there was a time where I would have been intolerant. And I would have been intolerant towards Shia because I wouldn't have known about the Shia thing, and I would have just been part of the same product.
Yeah.
And I've not grown up around Shia, and I've not known anything about them. I've just been told things by people, or they believe that Jibreel made a mistake, and Ali was meant to be
like
the
I
prophet.
said, if you don't fill the void, someone fills it for you.
Exactly. So I would have been just as intolerant as the next person. So if you asked me a while back, I may have said
this
some of
interview
these
wouldn't be
things.
happening.
So now, exactly, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And now my point is, now let's say I am saying this now. Like, we need unity. Now somebody says, okay, let's find you won't get probably an old clip of mine, like, but I'm just saying,
over time, it's evolution.
but what's the point of trying to undermine the message of unity by trying to say, look, so many years ago you said this.
Yeah.
You probably did say it.
Yeah. People change
But we
over
all
time.
say
It's
things,
evolution,
and we all learn, like, we all think like, how do we move forward? It's like somebody said to me, and I respect, there's a local doc, obviously Doc, if he's watching this, like he asked me, look, but there's a lot of things, and he made some genuine questions. He said, look, there's a lot of things which he said, like, he's personally heard from Shia, very problematic, very kind of this, and they've opened up and they've said this stuff to him. And I've said that, look, and he said that, Mufti, I heard your Monday nights with Mufti, the last one, this is not this one, but a few back. And he said that, you mentioned about there needs to be kind of unity between Shia and Sunni. And he said, but you don't really know what the Shia are about, and they're like this and they're like that, and I've known them personally. and I actually believe he's genuine, and I believe he has met those people. But I've said to him, look, but the thing is, look, two things. One, there's wackos in Sunnis as well. Like this wacko, like, let's say, what's his name? Yasser al-Habibi.
Yeah.
Like, I said, look, like that, you're going to get Sunnis like ISIS people, you're going to get people like you're going to get all kinds, like, even if they're not like butchering people, but they still got wacko views, they would consider all of us kuffar, no exception, like, so. But then I said, look, the second most important thing, I said to him, look, I'm not disagreeing this stuff may exist in literature, it probably does, I wouldn't be surprised, that's not my issue. My issue is, where is the message of hope? Like, where is the hope? Like, if we all cling to this kind of like, then where is hope at the end of the day? Like, how does anything move forward? Like, if we just like, we just clash and just hate, and you hate and I hate and you hate. I think
to add to that is that I think when people get misconfused, and when they say unity, it's that word. What does it mean by unity? Unity is coexistence.
Exactly. Exactly.
Based for me, like for what I would take, and probably you might agree, or feel free to disagree. By unity, we mean coexistence. It doesn't mean I then become a Maliki, you become a Shia,
No,
and
no,
we
no,
start
no.
arguing each other.
So it's not
No, it means-
uniformity.
exactly. And people, when you say the word taqreeb or unity, they think that.
Yeah, no,
And that's when people get, oh,
that we can never have.
Exactly. Oh, how can you-
I could get my friends and we could never be like that.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
even
Yeah.
though we could be like
but it's,
really
it's about having
like
respect
each
of,
other.
I have to respect your intellectual legacy.
And you just
and you
think,
respect
look,
mine.
like you just gotta, like you said, you hit it on the coexistent, harmonious
Yeah.
coexistence.
Because if we can do it with non-Muslims,
Yeah, like what, like at the end of the
We
day,
should learn from history as well. I mean,
Yes.
the Sahaba had differences.
Yeah, they
What
did.
eventually happened?
Exactly.
We end up having civil wars.
yeah, and what is and the thing is this, look, there needs to be a message of hope.
yeah.
Hope is too necessary. Like everything, like having no hope is not the way forward. Like even if we disagree, fine. If somebody is, you know, if somebody's out of order, they will probably, we will find people out of order. But the thing is, there needs to be a message of hope.
Yeah.
Because truth be told, we have, obviously, ultimately it's one God, one messenger, one book.
Yeah, this is the basics.
You know, it's not ultimately, now we all disagree on our
Dogma
interpretation
comes
of the
later,
book.
innit? The basics, this
But
is the basics.
ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what it is. Now, yes, you know, like, okay, you're Shia, you know, I'm Sunni, we disagree on certain things, but
know that,
that's
yeah.
in my life, I do that, that's in your life. But why can't we sit together, be civil? Why can't we have compassion? Why
It's
can't we have
almost like
harmony?
the scholars have made these borders so that you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost like that as well.
And the pressure is immense. Because
I would say
think
that
that
immense. I would say especially like I would say sometimes from the Sunni side I think the pressure is hard as well. Like
very
we
hard.
generally get told that, you know, you should mix, and it's, from the Sunni side it's like, oh well, why are you sitting with them? Or
Yeah.
it's almost like that. So
It is
no,
true
as in,
because
yeah.
people would be like you'd get immediately blacklisted, you'd get immediately kind of like,
Well, you're black
Well,
already.
because
so
I
you're
already
cool.
am,
You're
it
cool,
doesn't
yeah,
make
so
a
you're cool.
difference.
That's how I'm doing.
they're like,
That's how
oh,
they
this
do
guy's
it.
gone anyway.
This guy's gone anyway.
Why doesn't he just call himself a Shia and then we wouldn't have a problem?
Just take it out.
He's
Look,
attacking Bukhari. as well.
I'm wearing white. I can't be.
You can't be. You know the thing, yeah? I know.
Oh, but I've got black.
There you go, black, there you go. Change that into a Zulfikar.
Almost the sword.
It's almost the
It's really close, isn't it?